What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in this one, we're going to be breaking down how to make 25k per year profit. The reason why I picked 25k per year as kind of like a starting point is because here in the UK, then the average wage is in and around that number, give or take a couple of grand either way, depending on where you live. Another reason why you should watch this video is because we're going to be covering things like expectations and going over just how realistic it is to actually achieve that figure, especially in your first year. Another good thing to know if you're wanting to start dropshipping is when you see these big screenshots of 500,000, 1 million, to know realistically how much profit they're actually making from that. So one of the biggest mistakes I made personally when I first got started was trying to get to those big numbers as quickly as possible. So first I wanted 10k a month, then 20k a month, then 50k a month, then 100k a month. And it wasn't until about after 12 months and I had to submit my first books that I realized I was making a significantly less money than I actually thought I was. So whilst those big screenshots, those big numbers are cool, what's even cooler is big profit margins. So in my opinion, this is what should always be your focus, and this is actually one of the reasons why I like to scale my stores quite slowly. So if I show you this store now that I started in October for Q4, we can see that the very first couple of weeks, so the first week there was no sales at all. So if we go into the 7th to the 13th, we can say we were averaging sort of like in and around $150 a day maybe, and then found some traction on the 13th. This first kind of selection of 5 or 6 days is purely the testing phase. This is testing different audiences, different creatives, and seeing where the traction comes from. If we then skip forward to the next week, so the 14th to the 20th, we can see we've found some traction, we kind of know what works, we're starting to apply some low risk scaling methods, and now we're able to consistently achieve in and around sort of $400 per day. If we then take a look at the next week, so the 21st to the 27th, we can see we hit some inconsistencies, which is perfectly normal, by the way, if you're spending small budgets such as like this. So on October 21st, we actually had a billing issue in the account, so some of the ads didn't even run. But apart from that, we hit some pretty decent days at around $900, and then we can see the 25th and the 26th were both sort of $300 less. And the reason being for this is because I like to make adjustments to my ads to make sure that they're performing as profitable as possible. So whilst $900 per day looks a lot better than say 600, if I'm making more profit from the 600, that's all I care about. I'd much rather scale up, maintaining say a 30% profit margin than try and get to 1k a day as soon as possible, only operating at say 10%. And so with that being said then, guys, thanks for tuning into the video. I hope you enjoy this one. Make sure you stay tuned all the way through. If you want me to do a case study on that store that I just showed you, where we can jump into the ads manager and I can show you where I make those changes and kind of like my thought process, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below, and then when I finally scale that up to plus 1k per day, then I can get that video recorded for you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video if you want to see more, and of course if you do enjoy my content, please consider dropping a sub as well. With that being said, let's jump straight into it. So here we are on the diagram that I put together. We can see at the top 25k profit per year is going to be our target, and then we've got 3 different ways of getting there basically. These different percentages, so 10%, 20%, 30%, these are the profit margins that your business may be working on. Me personally, depending on kind of what product I'm selling and what country I'm selling to as well, that can influence things quite a lot. It will depend on where kind of my business sits between these numbers, but as a rough rule of thumb, you can expect to sit somewhere between sort of 10 and 30% profit once you find some traction with a product and you're making consistent sales. So let's start with the worst case scenario, which is a 10% profit margin. If you turn over revenue, making sales, whatever you want to call it, to get to that 25k profit per year, you need to be making £250,000 in sales, or $250,000, whatever revenue it is you're selling in. Now that may seem quite unachievable, it might seem quite scary, especially to do in your first year. But one of the beauties with dropshipping is when you find something that works, you really can scale up quite quickly, as we just saw with that store that I showed you. But one thing I like to do, which is a handy exercise to do to make things more realistic and achievable, is to then break it down into smaller goals. So instead of saying I want to try and achieve 250 grand this year, break it down to the monthly goal, which is a little bit over £20,000. Or if we break this down even further, we can see we only need to make £685 per day. And you just saw in that store I showed you, I can show you again if we hop back in, that I had my first, let's see if we go first to the 14th, I think it was a bit further on actually. So let's go 15th to the 21st, and we can see it was the 21st. So I didn't run any ads for that first week. So within the first 2 weeks, I was able to achieve the sorts of numbers in which you need to achieve to get to that figure of 25k profit per year. So when you have the right strategy and you find something that works, you can scale up pretty quickly. If you're selling a product that perhaps is a bit more expensive and there's more profit in it, or perhaps you're just getting some really nice results from your advertising, then you might be achieving 20%, in which case things become a whole lot easier. So obviously the revenue, the sales, the turnover becomes half of that of 10%. So we only need 125k per year in sales. Per month, this is £10,000, £10,417 per month, with £342 per day. And then of course we have the best one overall, which is 30%. This is what everybody should be striving towards. If you have a business that's operating with these high profit margins, then when things like a new Apple update system, so like the iOS 14 rollout, or like COVID, the more profitable your business is, the more healthy it'll be, and the more kind of capable it will be of kind of seeing you through those rough times or those rough patches. So at a 30% profit margin, you only need 84k revenue a year, which is 7k per month and £230 per day. Another extremely positive thing about smaller revenues and higher profit margins is that here in the UK, when you hit I can't remember, I think it's 85k, don't quote me on that, but I think once you hit £85,000 in revenue in a rolling 12-month period, you then have to become VAT registered. So it always pays off to be as profitable as possible. So £685 per day at 10%, 342 at 20%, 230 at 30%. What do these actually mean? Realistically, how do we achieve those? And can we achieve those in our first few months? To break this down further, we need a selling price for our product. So using the same example as the store I just showed you, say we're selling a product which is £40. This is the ideal kind of price range in my opinion, especially this time of year, because £40 sort of fits that gift price bracket, and it also fits that impulse purchase price bracket as well. So try and find a product you can sell for £40 and it costs you yourself less than £10 from your supplier. So to achieve £685 per day at a 10% profit margin, selling a £40 product, 10% obviously of £40, for every sale you're going to make approximately £4 profit. To achieve these numbers, you need to make a total of 17 orders per day. This will get you the $685 per day, which will in turn get you the 25k profit by the end of the year. Moving on to the 20%, again, everything halves because the profit margin is double. So selling a £40 product, you will make approximately £8 profit per sale. So you only need to make 9 orders per day to achieve 25 grand profit per year. Moving on to last but not least, then we have 30%. This is where things become really exciting because it's super achievable. £12 profit per sale and only 6 orders per day. That is all you need to make a pretty decent profit per year of 25 grand. Especially all things considered, to run a business of this size, of this stature of 85 grand in revenue, you will only need to commit somewhere between sort of 3 and 5 hours per week to achieve these sorts of numbers. And when you kind of pro rata your time invested versus the money out, it works out to be a pretty healthy wage. One final note then to wrap this video up, everybody watching this video is capable of achieving 6 orders per day if you have the right strategy. If you're looking for something to take all the headaches and guessing and trial and error out of starting a business on Shopify, then I highly recommend checking out my Ecom Academy Clubhouse. We now have over 200 members that have been through the tried and tested systems and strategies inside that produce the results that I've just showed you in this video. So if you'd like more information on that, make sure you check out the links in the description below. Thanks again for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to drop a like if you haven't already. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.